Titanfall 2. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Call down your Titan and get ready for an exhilarating first-person shooter experience in Titanfall 2. The sequel introduces a new single-player campaign that explores the bond between pilot and Titan, or blast your way through an even more innovative and intense multiplayer experience featuring 6 new Titans, deadly new pilot abilities, expanded customization, new map modes, and much, much more, like the amazing Sonar Pulse, which is for people who are so fucking bad at games that it allows them to see through the fucking walls. Stunt bell. No, Mac, don't. Yes, guys, Titanfall 2 has just dropped. A fucking clanger. That's what it's dropped, guys. Now, I quite like Titanfall 1 simply because it was kind of innovative. It was the first time that I'd ever seen a mech game where you could have just as much fun outside the mech as inside the mech. So that was quite new, but that was many moons ago, and many games have been and gone since, and we've kind of got sick of the Call of Duty kind of shit, you know. We don't want it anymore. We don't care. We've had lots of mech games, so, you know, we don't care about mechs anymore. No one cares. No one. Like, nobody. So, what have they done? Well, they've introduced a single-player campaign, and I'll come into that after I've gone through the usual stuff like the graphics and the sound. Now, the graphics, there's not a massive amount of graphical options, but there's enough. They've got all the usual stuff, and it does have a FOV slider, which is essential. I'm running with everything ramped up to the hilt, and it flies along at 60 frames a second. Never had so much. It's a 1 frame dropped. It is just a solid 60 FPS all the way. It runs so slick, guys. You know, we might be coming to a time where the dodgy console port has gone forever. I mean, we've had Battlefield 1 and now Titanfall 2. Both ran brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. The sound is brilliant in this game. It's really good. The gun sounds are awesome. It's fantastic, the gun sounds, as you would expect for a top AAA game. Good music as well. Good voiceovers. I recognise them. I recognise one of them. I think that, you know, the woman who was the head of the Borg, I think she's in this. She was quite nice. She was definitely a wad, apart from my bald head. So anyway, let's get on with the game. We have a single player campaign, guys. Now, I haven't finished it, but oh man, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. I streamed it for 2 hours and I've played it for another hour and a half. I know it's only like a 5 or 6 hour campaign, so I'm pretty much near the end of it. But, oh, bloody hell, guys. I'm going to say this. Not since Half-Life and Half-Life 2 have I enjoyed myself so much in a campaign. You know, Battlefield 1, I thought that campaign was great. This is 10 times better than the Battlefield 1. It's not, but it's better. It's not 10 times better, but it's better. And, you know, after playing Gears of Shite 4, it's just made this feel even better than it actually is. But guys, I've got to tell you that the campaign is sublime. It is just awesome. If you ramp the difficulty up, I played it on regular, which was probably a mistake. I should have played it on hard or master. I have ramped it up to hard now, and it is so much better. I highly recommend that if you're half decent at FPS games, put it straight onto hard. You won't be disappointed. It's just right. It's just right. It feels like what normal should be, you know, in the good old days. But what's so good about the campaign? Well, it's supposed to be about the bond between the pilot and the Titan, but to me, the story's just, yeah, it's alright. It's alright, but I'm not massively into the story. It's all stuff that's been done before. What I am loving is the level design. The level design is amazing. The enemies are really good as well. You have really horrible things that are suicidal, like spiders, and as soon as they take damage they just stop and explode. Now, we've seen that before in a lot of games, but it never gets old. It's really good. One of the best things about it is you have this ability to stealth for about 4 or 5 seconds, and running up to someone and punching them in the face after you've done that, it never gets old either. I just absolutely love doing that. You just have you can double jump anywhere, which is nice, and you can wall run, and when you were running around these levels, just leaping, you want to do stuff you shouldn't be doing. It's a bit like in Doom. Remember when I did Doom? When I was doing that, that kind of makes you want to just rocket jump when you know you shouldn't rocket jump, and then fire your rocket as you're going over the top of a monster's head, fire it onto his scalp, which obviously is going to blow you up because you're too close to it. Well, this has that effect on you. Once you start running around, leaping around, running up and down walls and double jumping, you just can't stop, and you know you should, and you should just take cover a bit, but you just don't wanna. You just want to keep doing it and just running in circles, strafing enemies, and it's so fast and fluid and slick that it is just amazing. Another good thing about the campaign is that it's set in a great environment. I mean, there's a part of it where you go into, I mean, it's outdoors, indoors, but one of the main attractions for me was this factory, and I didn't know what they were making, but they were actually making buildings and a world in this factory, in the factory for a good, I felt like I was in for about 45 minutes, running along the conveyor belts and getting crushed, getting squished, getting grinded, having to fight shit tons of enemies at the same time, leaping across drops, hitching a ride on the conveyor belts as well, and the whole thing ends up on the top of the planet, where all of the things that it's making are part of a map, little world, and it's just so good the way they bring it together. But getting there was so much fun. I mean, you know, I'm so pleased this has come out when it has, because remember when I did Gears of War just the other day, and I was complaining that it did everything for you. You never felt like you were achieving anything. Well, this is the exact opposite of that. You have to do everything yourself. You want to take cover behind a crate, then you just run up and you crouch, and that's it. You're behind that crate. And if your arse is sticking out, it's going to get shot, because the enemy are very, very accurate. And if you have to get across a jump, then you have to make that jump by timing it, and you have to run fast to do that. And sometimes you're running at breakneck speed when you do that. It's all about skill, it's all about accomplishment, it's all about achievement, and that's what games should be like. They shouldn't be things like in games that just you press a button and it'll just do it for you. It should all be about timing, it should all be about cunning, using your brain to get round a situation, to flank the enemy and all of this, and that's what makes a game really good and enjoyable. And this campaign has that in abundance. It has shit tons of that. It starts off a bit slow, but once you get into it, it is honestly, it's one of the best campaigns I've ever played in a game. And this is 2 out of the last 3 games I've thoroughly enjoyed the campaigns. So I'm liking the end of 2016 here. It's really good. The Titans are a bit, it's just a bit of a letdown when you get into Titan. I mean, I'm not saying that's crap, but it's so much better when you're not in a Titan. It's like when you have to get in the Titan, I'm like, oh, well, really, can I not just run? It's so much better. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like Call of Duty. I know it might look like Call of Duty, but when you play it, you realise it's nothing like Call of Duty. The combat is so much more fluid than Call of Duty. The weapons are amazing. Every time you see a gun, you want to pick it up and pull the trigger, because they are so different to each other. The weapons are there's like semi-automatic shotguns, there's these electric guns that as you keep the trigger pressed, it gets faster and faster and faster. Like pulse guns. There's obviously your big heavy machine guns, your light machine guns, your sniper rifles. There's all kinds of gun, and every time you see a gun, it's like, I need to fire this. What does this do? Wow, that's fucking awesome. There's not a lot of recoil on them, but it is so much fun firing all the guns and seeing what they do. Some of them are devastating, and you rip people apart with them. Heads, arms go flying off left, right and centre. It's just, they've nailed it. They have absolutely nailed the combat 100% in this game. It is absolutely phenomenally good. Great fun. It's kind of like exhilarating. You do something and you're like, oh wow, that was fucking awesome. It's like that all the way through. It's just really good until you get in your Titan. Then it's a bit of a, it slows right down the gameplay. You've got big meaty weapons, and yeah, it's not bad, but it's it does it all for you. You just hold the middle mouse button and it'll select multiple enemies, and you let go of the button and it fires like about 1,000 rockets at them all. You've got three different types of mechs. You've got like a brawler, you've got like a ranged mech, and you've got like a mid-ranged kind of rocket machine, really, and with kind of like an explosive arm on it. So you have different types of mechs. It's not like all the same every time you get in a mech, but I didn't really like the mech play at all. It's to me, this game excels in the pilot, when you're playing as your pilot. So I haven't finished the campaign, but it's brilliant. I've got to say, guys, the campaign is brilliant. What lets this game down massively, guys, is the multiplayer. And unfortunately, I think the multiplayer is pretty much the biggest draw to this game for people. And the problem with multiplayer is they have just kept in this, it's X-ray vision. X-ray vision is ruining multiplayer in all games. It's a wall hack. Let's just call it what it is. X-ray vision is a wall hack. That's what it is. It's kind of like developers are so scared that gamers are going to find it hard to play that they throw this in so that they won't find the game hard to play. Because if you think about multiplayer and the average multiplayer maps, you can't use your brain anymore if there's X-ray vision in the game, when it's an ability like this. Now in Battlefield it wasn't an ability, so the only people that had it, and I didn't even see it in multiplayer, was the snipers, and I think it was only in single player anyway. I never saw it once in multiplayer. This game, it's an ability. That means it's same with Overwatch. It wasn't an ability. It was one player had it, and it was on a decently long cooldown. So you hardly ever saw it in Overwatch as well. But in this, every few seconds, you'll get a warning that somebody is using the wall hack ability. How can people not understand that it absolutely, completely, and utterly ruins multiplayer PvP? Because at the end of the day, you cannot use tactics. You cannot use tactics because the only main tactic that you can have is ambushing. Now, I'm not talking about camping in the corner like a fucking prick, crouched down with your gun pointing at the door and shooting people in the back as they come through the door. That's just fucking lame. But it's a good tactic, but it's lame. A tactic I use a lot is if someone sees me, I run into a building. They'll think I'm in the building, but you find another way out and you come round behind them as they're running in the building. I've killed hundreds of people over the years doing that. You cannot do that anymore. You literally can't, because what they will do, they will use their ability once you run in the building to see what you're fucking doing when you're in the building. And they'll see you run out the back door and run, oh, you're doing that, are you? Bam. Dead. Now you don't know that they can fucking see you do it until they come running out and they're standing there. Alright, Mac. Boom. I saw you because I'm so shit at games. I couldn't work it out on my own, but I used this hack to do it. And there's a load of situations like that, guys, where you just can't get the jump on people. You can't surprise them. You can't go leaping across behind a building and come up behind the lines. I always do that in games. I never go where the main bulk of people go. I always try to work a way around the outside to come up behind them, and you can't do that. You literally cannot do that in modern FPS games that have wall hacks, because everybody sees you coming. It's there because the developers just cop out because they're spineless. They're absolutely fucking spineless, the developers that do this. They're just so scared that people are going to find the game too fucking hard and that they're not going to play it. And it's so annoying, and I'm so fucked off with it. So I'm giving the multiplayer 0 out of 10. Now, in the Pilot v Pilot mode, it was rife. Everybody was using it. I did Capture and Hold, which has the Titans in it. It wasn't so prevalent in there because obviously you've got people in Titans who aren't using the X-ray vision. So it was kind of better when I was playing that mode, but still, for me, it's not worth it. Now, I'm not going to thumb the game down because of that, because clearly that would be me just being a dick. The campaign in this game is phenomenal. It's not worth £50, but you don't have to pay £50. I mean, I paid £37 on Greenman Gaming. Links in the description if you want it. But it's worth that because the single player campaign is great. Just leaping around the platforms, just like you do in Half-Life, was so much fun. Working out which way to go. Now, there is, again, in that noob mode, if you don't know the way to go, you can press this button and it'll show you how to get across. But disable all that. Just disable it all, because you don't need it. Trust me, just disable all the help stuff and just play it. and you'll find that it is so much fun and a really, really good game. It's much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was getting a thumb down every day of the week. I really did. I was absolutely shocked at how good the campaign is, and as soon as I finish this review, I'm going to go and finish it, because I might stream the rest of it. I don't know, but I'm loving it so much, and I can't wait to get back to it. And it's definitely worth buying for the single player. The single player is just a real joy to play. Put it on hard, disable all the shit that you can, and have a really, really fun time in it. So there you go, guys. Titanfall 2, multiplayer for noobs, but single player is so much fun.